Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Boss,
Present.
Pipia, Graham,
Present.
Hughes,
Present.
Fry,
Present.
Schroller,
Here.
Throm, Barnes.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Oh, good. With the illness going around, I'm glad we have a quorum. Okay, the first item are the minutes from January 22nd. I had two slight changes on two. Number 4, it read financial statements and financial statements. It should be financial statements and financial reports. And then at the very bottom, just pull that pages down here. Debbie? Did anybody have any more substantial changes in those two? Okay, I would entertain a motion to approve as amended.
Move to approve as amended.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 6-0. All right, the next item is public comments. You're welcome to come to the microphone. You're willing to share up to 5 minutes. Give your name, your address, and your ward.
Good evening. Am I supposed to be using this microphone or why is this here?
Just said,
Okay.
Good question.
I'm Karen Hughes and I reside in Ward 2. I serve on the City of Marysville Planning Commission. I am here to ask that the City Council review stormwater regulations, City Ordinance 1822, enacted in August 2014. My concern is that the ordinance contains no provisions as to any verification process in determining whether a stormwater management plan is required or not. The ordinance includes instances when stormwater regulations shall not apply. However, the ordinance does not include provisions and criteria necessary to make that determination, such as submission requirements including data and measurement standards, what qualifies as replacement to an existing structure, what time frame is allowed, can the developer include removal that happened years ago and/or potential future changes in calculating the impervious area, who verifies the calculations, is verification required prior to submission of a site plan or plat to the Planning Commission. Ordinance 1822 has been added to the front of the Unified Land Development Code. ULDC Article 21B, Powers and Duties, specifically lists 11 powers and duties assigned to the Planning Commission. There is no mention of stormwater regulations. So the question is, who verifies whether a stormwater plan is required or not? As a member of the Planning Commission, I ask that the City Council review this ordinance as soon as possible. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I have, if you'd like a copy, here's my comments.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Did you make
Thank
copies
you.
for everyone?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay. As she stated, she's on the Planning Commission, and I attended the last one last week, as well as Darlene, and the ordinances are city ordinances. They're not ordinances of the Planning Commission, and so I feel, and I believe Karen feels, that the storing regulations should be a determination made by the governing body rather than by the Planning Commission. And plus, the Planning Commission isn't really aware of the drainage issues, the stormwater issues that we've had in the past. And I think that we are more knowledgeable about ongoing issues of that nature. So I think you know, it is an ordinance. It's not amending the ULDC. It's in addition to the ULDC. So, and she's right. I did talk to Gina. Gina has gone before planning commissions in San Francisco. All over. And she said that whenever, you know, you have an architecture degree?
interdesign degree. I worked under architects.
Why don't you tell your story about what you do? I'm sorry.
Okay, so we would call, I worked on behalf of Liberty Mutual Insurance. And so any place that they were moving to, we would call that city's planning department and ask a bunch of questions, like what codes they were currently under, what codes, what amendments, what ordinances, whatever that city required for the project and scope of project that we were doing. And most cities were under the IBC or the CBC, which is International Building Code or the California Building Code. And there was a lot of them that if you spent so much retrofitting a suite for your tenant, then you had to do upgrades to the building for ADA compliance and different codes and stuff like that. So I guess I kind of agree that you would need something when somebody would call or come in and want to build something in Marysville or retrofit something, then you would have a code to reference.
Well, I think when you made it simpler for me to understand layman's term was, you know, they had this, the impact on the drainage. And she said it is up to the developer to prove that those drainage numbers are correct, to give enough information to the planning commission to prove those were right. So it's just to understand all that. And I just think it should be a city council function going forward. And I think that I have the same concerns about that specific ordinance that we need to rewrite it. Craig, do you have any comments about that?
Well, I don't know that I'm prepared to give any conclusions that agree or disagree with the comments already stated. I'm looking at both what Karen has presented, the Stormwater Regulation Ordinance 1822, and the ULDC. And that is to say that it's not simple. I mean, you got to coordinate a lot of these things, and there is, I think it's a correct statement that there's omissions in that 1822, and what are the implications of those omissions, and do you have to relate it back to other articles like Article 2 that talks about the powers and duties of the Planning Commission and processes, for instance, on establishing subdivision regulations within a comprehensive plan. And I mean, those all may apply, may not apply. I don't know that for sure. I would want to look into it a little further to determine that. If this Article 2 already gives a roadmap to how it's done, which is, I'm very much summarizing, goes to a planning commission, shall advise and recommend to the governing body for its adoption and amendment of regulations governing a subdivision. In that case, if we're talking about a subdivision, so there's a process in place per the current language of the ULDC. But again, I think the complexity of it is it may not always be a subdivision regulation process. It may be some other reason that stormwater regulations are being looked at and how they're brought either to the governing body or to a planning commission, and in what order that needs to go. But I'm happy to look into it to give a perhaps its options. If I mean, it sounds like one that's been proposed is to maybe amend Ordinance 1822 as it's been adopted
To
by
make
the
it more
ULDC,
thorough. Yeah.
so that it speaks to some of these omissions that have been brought up. And also, of course, we always have to make sure that it's in compliance with statewide statutes and not contrary to those. So just another piece of law that has to be cross-checked with this too.
I think what was frustrating is that there was nowhere, based on the information that was given, that we could calculate it independently, those numbers. And so I think that's what.
Independent of the planning commission, you're saying the council couldn't calculate those, or?
The information presented to the planning commission couldn't prove the numbers that were given as a drainage issue numbers, as a drainage numbers to be considered.
And why is, just, again, I'm learning as you're saying this, and why is that? Why was that
Well, it doesn't, or that ordinance doesn't specifically say that to provide information to the extent that we can prove those numbers to be true. You know, so that's one of the shortfalls of that ordinance. So anyway, I agree that we need to change it or improve that ordinance, especially before we have another issue of stormwater drainage to address those. So, thanks. Okay, anybody else want to share on public comments? All right, Lynn, you're up.
Good evening. My name is Lynn Mayer. I'm here on behalf of the North Central Regional Planning Commission. I am on their advisory committee. It's a commission that's located in Bullitt, Kansas, but it encompasses Marshall County, just to give you a background. Debbie Peters is the director of this group. Does an outstanding job, and typically in the past has done many commercial projects. And this is kind of the first, she has developed a home ownership program that she is wanting to incorporate into the city of Marysville. And this is the first of its kind for their group. They applied through its 501c3, the North Central Kansas Community Network Company, applied for grants from the Guys Weber Foundation, the Helvering Trust, and the Marysville Community Foundation to create the Marysville Home Ownership Program. The primary goal of assisting employers in recruiting and retaining employees through those employees staking roots in the Marysville community directly. The Guys Weber Foundation, the Helvering Trust, the Marysville Community Foundation all created $10,000 for her to use in this process, and I will explain that process in just a minute. Some of the things that she feels, this has been a work in progress since about September the 9th. Some of the things that she feels is important for our community is that there's been several realtors contact her and tell her that we have a large inventory of homes that are currently for sale in Marysville. And that is not anything new to the community. She takes in a 14-county area that is fairly consistent with the other 13 counties that she takes care of. This program would seek to assist in the following areas. It would assist employers in recruiting and retaining quality employees by encouraging them to become invested in the community and staking roots through home ownership. This can help employees in job productivity, loyalty, reduce commute time, increase longevity, and for the business may reduce turnover and training costs. Second thing, this program may improve employees' quality of life through home ownership. Home ownership can be a great source of pride, happiness, independence, and confidence for the future, as well as a steady wealth builder for the employee. Reducing commute times enables future homeowners to spend less on gas, less time on the road, and more time with their family. Homeowners tend to be more involved in community activities. This program will be a viable relocation incentive for existing employees commuting, new employees, and young families desiring to move back to their hometown to enjoy raising their family here. This program may also help the local school system to attract new children, which could provide additional sources of revenue for the school through per pupil aid. Children of stable homeowners tend to do very well in school. This program may assist with the marketing of homes in Marysville, which can have a domino effect on other houses in our area. As one house sells, that may free up another family to purchase another house, and this continues. This program may revitalize the local economy. If there are more people in Marysville spending money in Marysville, the local economy will grow. Timing of this program is key, as many homes are marketed between the months of March and September. It is also key because other first-time homebuyer programs become available during this time and can be piggybacked to this program. The plan is to market this program through the realtors. The realtors often are the first to know that there is a down payment issue. This is a down payment assistance program. It also is a grant program for the closing costs. Many times the realtors are the first to know of any issue that might be there. The example of the program is a 10%, up to a 10% loan to the potential borrower or the purchaser of a home. This, again, it can be piggybacked with another program. The Federal Home Loan Bank program has a program for first-time home buyers, and it is a grant process. As long as they remain in the home for 5 years, they do not repay that grant. All 3 banks in Marysville are members of the Federal Home Loan Bank, and all 3 banks participate in that program. The grant for the closing cost would be up to 2.5% of the purchase price of the home, rounded up to the nearest $100. That would be a grant, and that grant is being provided by the Helvering Trust, Guys Weber Foundation, the Marysville Community Foundation. In addition to that, the 3 banks in Marysville, Citizen State Bank, United Bank and Trust, and First Commerce Bank have each donated $2,500 towards the grant process, mainly because we believe it's an important thing for our community. It's time to move some of these houses that have been on the market for possibly too long, and I think this is a way to get that done. An example would be a $100,000 home purchase. They could obtain up to $10,000 in a loan that they would repay over the same terms. The term of the loan that the bank makes will be copied to this council, and they will repay that over that term. It'll be a small payment that will allow them to possibly skip some of the mortgage guarantee products that they might otherwise have to pay for. The grant process for the closing costs is theirs to keep. They will never repay that. I guess I would like to open it up for questions if there is any questions from the council. We are going to have a lunch on February 21st, which is a Wednesday, at Landau Lanes. Debbie Peters is sending out the invitations to that. It is by invitation, and I'm not sure, Austin, I did not visit with Debbie whether Debbie's proposal was she wanted to know if the city would sponsor that lunch.
Yeah, and I had that in my report.
So you're going to take care of that?
Yes.
Perfect.
Yep.
Okay.
So who would be going to the lunch?
Well, I don't know. I don't have a list of her invitees, but it is, I know it's going to be some city people, some county people, because I think that after this completes with the city, and I will specify that it's not just a city deal, but it is a zip code issue. So you would have to purchase a home in the 66508 zip code. It's not a city limits project.
So is this something to introduce it to the realtors?
It's going to be introducing it to the realtors, the banks, the city, the county, the newspaper, which has run several nice articles about the potential project. And I'm not, like I said, I'm not sure who Debbie has on her invitee list, but.
So has anyone else done this in Kansas before? Is this a brainchild of Deborah?
She has actually done this on a very limited basis in Wilson County.
Okay.
Wilson County is a fairly unpopulated county, and they have done it very limited. And I think that it's been 3 or 4 houses that they have done this with.
And so with the $10,000, how many houses do you anticipate helping?
Well, not everybody's going to receive 10,000
It's up
Some
to
people- it's up to
10,000 per
10,000.
person,
per house.
per house, okay.
House purchased. So if it's a $100,000 house, you can qualify for 10,000. If it's a $50,000 house, you qualify for 5,000.
Okay. This other type of loan you were talking about, that,
Federal Home Loan Bank first
yeah,
time?
well, you're saying if they live there for 5 years, they don't have to pay it all,
No, they
any of
don't.
it?
No, they don't pay any of it.
So can they get 90% of that?
No.
How-
That's-
is that a
It's a
limit?
down payment assistance program.
Oh, it's a
And
down.
it's limited to $5,000.
Oh, it's $5,000, I see.
In this program, the applicants, would they be required to be moving from a zip code other than 66508?
Yeah, good question. The applicants would be, if you do not currently own a house in the zip code of 66508, you qualify to purchase a house and obtain financing through this. If you own a house or don't own a house outside of the 66508 zip code, you qualify to purchase a home in the 66508 zip code. What it doesn't allow you to do is own a house in Marysville and buy another house in Marysville, because you're already a homeowner in Marysville. So. Any other questions?
So you said it's up to $10,000 per house. How much money, what's the pot of money look like? Or is it just as
She has-
needed?
Well, they have, this commission has money that they have obtained, some of which has been obtained through the banks in Marysville. We have applied for grants for this commission over the years. Then they use that fund to make loans to, typically it has been business loans that are repaid and then relent. So it's a revolving fund. There are several businesses in Marysville and Marshall County that have utilized their funding. But this would be a personal, more of a personal side.
Well, I appreciate you coming and telling us about
Yeah.
it, because the first thing I knew about it was in the newspaper, and I said, why don't we know about this?
Well, it's been a work in progress.
Yeah.
This initially started with Abilene, and the city of Abilene ended up not being able to raise the grant funds. And so, like I said, I am on the advisory committee, and I thought, well, you know, if that's something that would help our inventory of homes, I think we ought to try it. And we have generous people that have agreed to provide the grant money for the closing costs, and you know.
I guess that's just to show that the community's sharing in this. That's why in Abilene, they wanted somebody to step up and cover the grant side of it.
They did, and that's what, I mean, we've had people step up and cover the grant side where they weren't able to get that done. I do not know the total amount of dollars that North Central Regional Planning Commission has in their revolving fund. I'm thinking it's in the $400,000 to $500,000 of cash. That's in addition to the loans that they have outstanding currently that are repaying.
So the realtors, how did they feel about it?
The realtors feel like we have a large inventory of homes on the market.
And did they feel like the stumbling block was the down payments?
Some of it's down payment. I think they feel that if we can piggyback this program with the Federal Home Loan Bank program, that's going to allow people with a small down payment of cash the availability of purchasing a home. And you know, they're not all going to be $150,000 houses. We have
We have a lot that
We
are
have a lot
under
of
50,
$50 to
probably.
$75,000 houses that need to move.
Yeah,
And that domino effect will take place if some of those $75,000 houses sell. The people that are in them may move to a $100,000 house outside of this program.
I have a question. When you say that, you said earlier in your conversation the fact that if you're in this area, you wouldn't be eligible for this if somebody wants to
The
get
person,
rid of
that party would not be eligible.
That's what I mean. If they're not eligible, but they wanted to upgrade here in town, they wouldn't be eligible for that.
They would not be. But possibly the thing that's holding them back from upgrading is the fact that their house won't sell. And if their house sells, they take the equity from that house and put it into the new house.
I see.
well, I personally hope you do get a lot of the lower income houses that, first-time homeowners.
I agree with you. And there is income limitations on the Federal Home Loan Bank program. There is no limitations on this program.
Okay,
There is a limitation on the credit score. The credit score must be 700 in order to qualify for this program. And that's not difficult to do. It may take some work on their part to clean up their credit scores a little bit, but that can be done. We work with people every day on cleaning up their credit scores.
anybody have any other questions? I appreciate you coming
Yeah, thank you. I
and
hope-
telling us about it.
Yeah, I hope we see at least a couple, three representatives from the city on the 21st of February.
Okay,
All
thank
right.
you.
Thank you.
Okay, and we found out that Karen Farrell is not here. She was on KNDY with me with her kids last week, so we appreciate her partaking in the KNDY radio session with me. All right, Brian Froggle.
Brian Froggle, Marysville Sport and Rec. I came tonight to give you our I think in your pack you have all the 2017 numbers and things that we offered, different, how many we employed, different things like that. We do this on a yearly basis, come in and give you guys this information. So with that, I don't know if you had time to look at it. I was just going to ask and see if there is any questions about anything that we offered last year, or if you have any questions about the recreation-wise.
Well, you started that slow pitch league and you had 110 participants the first year
Well, we had 10
out?
teams, and we're going to offer it again this year, and we think we can get probably 18 teams
Wow,
this year.
The farmer's market continues to grow.
Yep. Continues to grow. It's our market's actually getting out there where a lot of people. I mean, we're vendors and customers. It's proving that we're one of the better markets around. That people come here for the fresh stuff, fresh veggies and things. Yep.
When was the adult soccer?
Oh, we do during soccer season. We do that on Monday nights.
Okay.
We don't.
I didn't know about it.
We don't select
Not that I'm a
teams
big
or
soccer
anything.
player.
They show up and they play.
Okay.
Because a lot of guys said, you know what, my kid might be someplace wanting to win. So we tried to do team-wise, but we decided let's just open it up, show up, they play until dark, and they're done. And we do that while the soccer goals are up there at the Feldhausen Field.
And for the newer council members, we have a contract with Marysville Rec. And we pay them, I don't remember.
this year 67,000.
67,000
To run the rec
to
program.
run the recreation program.
But they run all of it, and they do a really good job. And our community is very blessed to have them working our kids and our families, so I
Well, we
appreciate-
try, and we try to offer, different things and things like that. So obviously, coming up, one of our bigger events is the Daddy-Daughter Dance. We're looking at doing something like that on April 6th. We had to move it to a different location in 2017 because it's growing so fast. And so, we have that coming up. Like I said, slow pitch, we'll be starting the registration for our ball season this year, here pretty shortly. And then obviously, we still do our card party night on the third Thursday of the month down at the Lincoln Center and things. So yeah, we keep, people said, oh, probably your downtime is, well, we're still busy and things.
So is your card party night, is that all different ages?
Well, I'm the youngest. So, but the people that go to that, I didn't know how to play pinochle. So, but we offered, I went there. After the first night, I was playing pinochle, and now it's probably one of my favorite card games.
Well, I think it's great because you want everyone, it shows that you hit all ages.
Yeah, and we offer snacks and, drinks, or, some coffee and cookies and some snacks. But yeah, it's actually a lot of fun. Actually, this coming Thursday night, we'll have our card party for the month of February, and then we'll have March, and then we're done during the spring and summer months with card party.
You advertise snacks, you could get a big crowd.
They do like the snacks. They do like the snacks and things. So one thing I was going to mention about baseball and softball registration. In the past, we have let registration, people register all the way up through May. The problem we were having in the last several years is we take registrations from mid-February to mid-March. We get our teams out 1st of April. And so then we get these people that sign up late, and our teams are selected, they're practicing. A team that just had 10 kids now has 12 or 14 kids. So what we're looking at doing is actually either no more registrations after like April 15th, or putting these kids on a waiting list. I hate to tell kids they can't play, but at the same time, when these teams are out and these teams are practicing for a month, and then also another kid wants to play, is it fair to the other kids that's been practicing a month, and so on and so forth. So we're looking at doing something like that. I've talked to Sabetha, I've talked to Seneca. They actually put kids on a waiting list. So teams don't get up to 14, 15 kids, so kids don't get that chance to play. And he said in the past they actually have told kids, we have this time to register, you really need to register at that time. And so then, and I hate telling kids they can't play, but at the same time, it is tough for a coach when they're coaching, then all of a sudden, 1st of May, I say, hey, you got an addition on your team. So, we're looking at that. I just want to let you guys know, so if somebody would comment about something like that you would say, like, well, what's going on here?
Well, this is the first year you're implementing it?
Yes, we have not done that before, and last year was a disaster. It was almost a disaster because we had a team that started out with 12 and ended up with 16 kids. We almost could make 2 teams out of it.
And so how are you communicating this change to the community?
Well, it's on the registration form, and the school does a very good job about allowing us to send notes home through the elementary school. And so with that, in the note, I will have that comment in there about, registration
policy.
deadline, no registrations or refunds after April 15th or whatever, the date that we select.
And you'll say real big that this is a new policy.
Yeah, and with that, if there's I'm just going to use like a little girls softball team, that we have 2 teams, there's only 9 kids on a team, and this is where I said, we put them possibly on a waiting list. If they sign up late, we need kids on that age group. Then yes, we could put that on that age group, because that's what Seneca did, and I like the way he explained it to me, how they worked their things, but they just tell them that your name will be put on a waiting list.
Okay. As long as it's communicated,
But now, like
some
the
people, if they're
kids,
used
3,
to
4,
doing it this way,
right.
they're going to say, well, I did it this way last year, Brian.
Right. Now, the little kids, blastball, t-ball, that won't happen. They will play because, it's they don't keep score, they don't travel.
You
but
can
when
add
you're
another
traveling
player.
and you're traveling with your kid, and you had 9, 10 kids on their team, now they have 14, it does make a difference. And things. So I just wanted to mention that to you guys, so
In case people tell us.
Yep, I just wanted to.
We know.
Wanted to make sure that you guys knew that. So, does anybody have any questions, anything else about recreation?
Thank you.
Yes,
Thanks, Brian.
that's all I have. I know there's improvements coming up at Lakeview, so we're excited.
Yeah, you want to go ahead and, have we communicated that to everyone? What we're doing at Lakeview? Did we do it last week? We put it in the highlights. Okay. So did we get the berm done? It's almost the end of February. Has it done yet?
No.
Okay.
No, it's snow on the ground and stuff, but no, it's still like it was.
Okay.
So, thank you.
I know February
Thanks, Brian.
26th is the date we want it cleared by, so, thank you. Okay, Sherry McNary.
Yes, it rhymes.
I know, I was sitting there going, Sherry McNary, it seems like it should be,
Everybody smile. I fell in
continue
love
on in a
before I knew
poem
his
or
last
something,
name.
yeah.
Told our girls growing up, find out the last name first. So, thank you very much for your time. My name is Sherry McNary. I am a certified wildlife rehabilitator with the state of Kansas and a member of Northeast Kansas Wildlife Rescue Group. I've been a member of that group since 2009. Our group is based in Topeka, and we cover Topeka, Lawrence, and I'm up in Northeast Kansas. I do have a 60-mile radius that I cover. So I specialize in raptors and rabies vector mammals, so we rescue and rehabilitate animals. I'm here today because in April I will launch a youth conservation program in Northeast Kansas called the ARC. ARC stands for Animal Rescue and Conservation, where wild things teach. There are plenty of hunting and gun safety education for kids in Northeast Kansas, but very little on conservation. So my mission is to teach kids to live harmoniously with our wild neighbors because we protect what we love. So my goal is to raise a generation of children who love wildlife so much they're determined to protect it as adults. I am also a docent at the Topeka Zoo, and I do work at the Gary Clark Education Center since 2016 at the Topeka Zoo in preparation for this. I am here tonight to ask for permission from the City Council to take a baby black squirrel from your population. I am licensed with the state of Kansas to harvest and retain wildlife for educational purposes, but I do know that your squirrels are beloved and protected by ordinance. I have raised and rehabilitated a couple of black squirrels. It was one of the first animals that I worked with in rescue. It was an enchanting experience. I could just stare at a black squirrel all day. So that's part of the reason why I chose a black squirrel as one of my first education animals that I'd like to have. So my program topics will vary. I do plan to have up to 5 animals. My federal migratory bird permit is pending, and I have a western screech owl waiting for me in New Mexico once that paperwork comes through. Planning to offer the programs at low cost to any interested group. My target is ages 5 through 18, and I will tailor those programs if teachers need certain STEM requirements. So everybody asked me why squirrels. My husband had a great answer for that. He's like, why not? So he's a little nutty, so I married him. Squirrels are great education animals. They communicate verbally, they chatter, they purr, they scream. They use body language. Easy to tie that in with how we relate to one another. So my programs will consist of lecture, live animal encounter, and then an activity, and just to encourage kids to take home what they learn. So I sincerely hope that you'll approve my request. I do prefer to take an orphan. Like I said, I have rehabilitated a lot of squirrels over the past 8 years, but I do usually set them free back where they came from. This one would be kept, it would be raised to consider me mom. That way it would be safe for use around children. So, does anybody have any questions?
So you would take a baby squirrel and you would keep it forever?
I would keep it, it wouldn't be a pet, but it would be raised as a pet, yes. And a squirrel in the wild, the average lifespan is 11 months to 5 years. Squirrels zigzag when they run from prey, which is great if you're escaping a hawk, not so good if you're escaping a car. So their lifespan in the wild is not very good, but in captivity they can live 15 to 20 years. Wow. So part of the state and federal permit process has been making sure that I have all my cages to regulation. It's going to have a great enclosure, a great life. I do own my husband and I own a 125-acre farm in Northeast Kansas, and I've taken over his barns slowly over the last 25 years, converting them into aviaries and pens. So he'll have a great life. He'll be well cared for. I'm willing to let the children of Marysville vote on the name,
How do you make sure you get an orphan?
Well, I work with the game wardens a lot. So the last time I had black squirrels from this area, they were brought to me by Scott Stoughton. He drove them from Marysville to me, and then I returned them when they were released. I didn't realize they were quite such a big deal. He told me I should have called and had a party. So, my bad. But they were returned to the city park. So I would prefer an orphan. However, if somebody knew where a nest of baby squirrels was, I would not be
We have
opposed to
those
taking
orphans
one.
that were on Facebook. Remember who was? Cohorse was feeding them. That it was an orphan, so she bottle fed it, and it still comes back home to her.
Yeah, and I'm only interested in one. One squirrel can be tamed. 2 squirrels cannot. Squirrels snap at 12 weeks of age and they go psycho. So I'm really only interested in one baby. If I had a nest of them come in, I would make sure that the others could be released. Part of my job with wildlife is to make sure animals stay wild. So I don't have a lot of experience in taming things. Part of my job is to make sure that they hate and want to eat humans when they leave me. So, I work with foxes a lot, owls a lot. So part of my job is to keep them wild. So this taming of a squirrel will be new to me.
Taming of the squirrel.
Yeah, I think there's a book, Taming of the
I know.
Squirrel.
Yeah.
We're going to go
Taming
with
of
the squirrel for this.
We'll have
Shakespeare.
you'll have to do a storybook on it. I think you could sell it in Marysville.
Does it matter if it's a male or female?
I would prefer a female just because males tend to mark
More
their
aggressive.
territory. But no, I'm not particular. A male would probably bond with me more just because the male-female thing, they just tend to be a little bit easier, but they are a little bit messier, so I would prefer a female.
Understandably.
So the babies are being born anytime from now to April.
Oh, okay. We'll have to watch
So
them.
I kind of am looking for a quick turnaround answer on this just because it's time to be on the lookout for them. And Darren knows me, and like I said, I've worked with him before, so if he had something, I'd be the one who probably brought it to anyway. But
So you just kind of, if we would approve this, you'd wait till Darren has one?
most likely,
I
yeah, or
see.
if he knew of a nest.
Okay.
I'd prefer an orphan. My mission has always been to keep nature as wild as possible. I'm not really comfortable with pulling a wild animal. One of the other animals I'm looking to use is one of my mammals is a porcupine, and rather than pull one from nature, I intend to purchase that, and it's going to be quite expensive. I've also looked at a river otter, and they're about $5,000. So what I'm doing is not cheap. I have invested considerable money and time. God bless my husband, over the past 8 years doing what I do. I am a volunteer. Everything I do with wildlife is volunteer, and that's why it's taken me so long to go after this venture. I've spent the last 5 years solely setting up food networks. I have networks with grocery stores for produce that's gone beyond what they can sell. I get it. I got a pallet of watermelons one time, but I had 22 raccoons, so it was great. I work with K-State Poultry Farm. They supply a lot of food for my mammals because I can tell you a great horned owl will eat 8 to 12 mice a day. And a baby fox, he will eat about 10 chicks a day. So it gets very expensive very fast. In addition to food, there's caging needs, medication supplies.
So you're in Sabetha.
Just
So
outside
do
the
you
city
bring
limits.
your different animals to schools here?
I will
Would you do
travel.
that?
I am not offering any public viewing on my farm. It is private land. That's a whole nother, that's a future goal. I would love to have a nature center, but not right now. Right now, I don't like people on my farm. So
But you would
the
bring
liability.
different animals into the
Yes,
school system
yes.
if they
So
desired it.
Part of what I've had to do is write my program. So I've got one on feet. Kids learn the difference between mammal and bird feet, whatever we're specifying. And then we compare those to human feet, Make the kids kick off their shoes. Can you find food with your feet by scratching like a chicken? Or can you, grab your feet and squeeze it like a raptor? They can pop off a head doing that. So, just interactive activities. I was a Girl Scout adult trainer and leader for 12 years and the service unit coordinator for GSKVC. So I've worked with kids for a very long time at all
You
these
should
levels.
contact our library. Our library has wonderful programs like that, and they would probably jump on that in a minute.
And
Especially if they had a
I'm-
black squirrel, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'd be glad to bring any baby that I, harvested back for a program. I am working with the local libraries around my area. I've not announced this to a lot of people. I'll launch with the Kleinfelter Farm in April. They've approached me about holding a launch event there. So I guess I wanted to make sure all my federal and state permits were in place. There's a lot of red tape, so.
Yeah, sounds like a great program.
And I have some printouts. If you'd like to take them, there should be one for everybody. Just kind of
Thank you.
synopsis of what I'm doing.
Do you guys have any other questions for Sherry McNary?
So
I
you
just
only
wanted to
put,
say it one more
I had to say it again.
so you only put them in cages when you take them someplace then, otherwise they're not caged then?
No, they will, each animal that I have for education will have its own specific home. My Western Screech Owl has to have a 12 by 12 by 8 foot enclosure. He's non-flighted. He had a severe head injury and gets his head stuck upside down sometimes, which is perfect for me because what better way to show dexterity of an owl's head, So each animal will have its own enclosure, and by law, I'm walking a fine line. I cannot keep any animal that I rescue as an education animal. There are laws preventing that. So I have to I'm working with the IWRC, that's how I found the owl, International Wildlife Rehabilitation Council. So other groups that have animals they can't release, post them on this listserv. And then we can go out there and find animals that way too. So I have to be very careful because my actions, I'm one of 15 members in Northeast Kansas Wildlife Rehab, so whatever I do with this conservation program is going to reflect on that group. And I don't want what I do with conservation to ever endanger what I do with rescue. Last year we rescued 1,500 animals in Northeast Kansas.
Wow.
2 years ago, that number was 2,500. The difference is education. We're pushing, put it back. Teaching people, a feathered bird hopping around on the ground doesn't need you to rescue it. What to do if you find a nest of rabbits. We're educating people more, and so we've seen a drop in the numbers that we're having to take in. So I rescued 173 animals by myself last year, and I have a 79% success rate. So very proud of that.
I bet.
But I don't do snakes.
So we just.
Are you guys in favor of allowing her to rescue a baby orphan
I
squirrel?
was gonna say, it looks like the way the ordinance reads is we just grant permission by vote and there's no specific paperwork or anything we have to do, right?
Yeah, that's what it says.
That's the way it reads.
Permission of the governing body.
Permission of the government. Well, I move to approve the,
Sherry McNary.
I move to approve Sherry McNary's request to capture, or to have wildlife and parks, game warden, capture a squirrel, preferably a orphan, for educational purposes.
Is there a second?
I'll second
Yeah, I
it.
second the motion.
Okay, is there any further discussion or questions to Sherry?
Oh, I would just say that it would be neat if you could bring it back for the kids of the
Be
community
happy
to actually see it.
I'd be happy to. I'll be in touch. I'll keep you informed once I do have one. Like I said, I'm more than happy to if you want to make it a thing with the kids in first grade or kindergarten to name the squirrel. I'm pretty easy to work with.
Okay.
You can make him as famous as you want. I'm going to make him as famous as I can. So in our
Cool.
rural community. So
Cool.
thank you very much.
All right. With that being said, all in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? 6-0. All right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for what you do for our wildlife. Rescue and rehab. Awesome. All right. Greg Boss, your name doesn't rhyme like that. Sherry McNary.
Well, I'm Greg Boss. I'm in Ward 2. I'm here to talk about several different items. Probably the most important to me is April 25th, I would like to announce the Boss Motors is celebrating our 80th anniversary here in Marysville. And we're going to have a chamber mixer at 5 o'clock. We'll have donuts and coffee and snacks at noon and stuff. And then the chamber mixer will have something to eat and obviously something to drink and stuff. So April 25th. I would request that I could, like we did at the 75th anniversary, cone off the south side of Mary's, Broadway, just in front of, between 6th and 7th Street, just cone it off because we plan on having several Boss Mustangs there to display and other Fords and stuff like that. So I'm requesting to do that. So we probably ought to do one thing at a time.
We probably should. I was just still thinking about all the food you're having. You might have people just stay there all day long.
We
It
did
sounds
at
like
the
you-
75th. We had some of them come in and found a chair, and they were there until 10
All
o'clock.
day. All
Until 10
day.
o'clock at night, yes.
Okay, and then 25th is what day?
That's a Wednesday.
It's a Wednesday,
Yeah, try
okay.
to do that with a chamber mixer thing, and so excited
Okay.
about it. Can't believe we've been there 80 years. I know I don't quite look 80, but feels
Not
like
at
it
all,
a lot.
no. So you want to cone off from 5th to 6th on the south half of the
Actually,
Broadway?
from 6th to 7th,
6th to
in
7th,
front of my dealership.
6th to 7th. Oh, I'm going,
Yeah,
oh,
Cromie's-
hello, 6th to-
Cromie's is the other way.
I was
I
going the
used
other
to
way,
cross,
yes,
yes.
yes, 6th to 7th, okay. Well, I would entertain a motion?
Well, and to solve all rumors, we are going to be here next year. This year, we are still in business, 2018. So if anybody questions that, we're here.
Selling cars, selling vehicles.
cars, selling trucks, selling campers, whatever you want to buy.
Okay, how about a motion for the cones on April 25th? South side? 6th to 7th?
I'll make a motion that we allow them to cone off April the 25th, Wednesday, between 6th and 7th Street, or between 6th and 7th Street for their anniversary.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, any discussions or questions for Greg? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? You got your first request, there's one.
Okay, thank you very much. You guys probably heard rumors about the Boss Nationals coming. A year ago, I was actually here asking for permission to have the event here in Marysville, Kansas. It will be September 7th, 8th, and 9th, and I'll hand these out. You can keep one each if you'd like. Basically, we're getting closer. A year ago, when I was here, almost, I know the Heritage Inn, several of the hotel rooms were already taken a year ago at this time, if you remember that. The Heritage is totally sold out. Now, it used to be the Oak Tree Inn, but is now the Travelodge. I believe it's sold out. I just called today. It's going to be a crazy event.
Wow.
It's crazy. We've got, and there's so many people that have Boss Mustangs that don't know anything about Facebook, and we're asking for, just save the date on Facebook. You'll see at the very bottom of that, you'll see a place where you can actually reserve your car if you know somebody that's got a Boss Mustang or whatever. But anyway, we've got over 100 cars coming already. We're asking for vendors, we're asking for sponsors. We're asking sponsors, we have a 3-level, a gold, silver, bronze, 500 for a sponsor for the gold, and you would get your own banner that would be displayed through the entire event. Silver and bronze will share a banner, bigger letters and stuff for the silver, obviously. That's a $500, $250 for the silver, and $50 for a bronze. The silver will also get, all of them will get through the day advertising and stuff like that. So we're asking to do that. We really don't know. We're inviting all cars to do the cruise night Friday night. That's anything, motorcycles, bicycles, tricycles, whatever you want to do. Friday night, we're asking to have the beer garden outside. We've already got the band Land Rush from, I believe it's Kansas City, Lawrence area. I saw them last year in Topeka at the cruise night down there, and they're remarkable. They're going to actually play Friday night, and so we're going to do the cruise night, beer garden, live band Friday night, right on Broadway. Don't need anything blocked off or closed off for that. Not even sure who all is going to have beer gardens, but we'd love the town to come open for that. I know Lori and Joe have both talked about sure loving to have to do something. I'm sure Main Street's going to want to do something, so we'll see how that is. I'd like to cone off Saturday and Sunday, probably Sunday maybe till 1 or 2 o'clock. We don't really know because we don't have many cars. I'd like to barricade off between 5th Street and 10th Street. For sure, I can't imagine not using between 6th Street and 7th Street if we need to and can open up the other 2 blocks because we don't have the crowd. But Saturday, we're having the Boss Mustangs and the single overhead cams. That's a special motor that Ford Motor came in, they came out. We've already got 10 rooms reserved to one group of those. And so, it's going to be fantastic, you guys. And we'd like to cone those off because then Saturday, any Ford product is going to be able to display their car for $25. It won't be judged, it'll just be a car show, you might say. That probably will be more 8th Street to 10th Street, someplace in there. We don't really know. And once again, after the show starts and we don't have the crowd or we have the crowd, we can always move the barricades and open that back up again. So I'd like permission to do that for those 3 days.
Usually on the car show, it's 5th to the 10th, right?
Actually, 4th through 10th on the car show.
And usually you have, 300 cars?
300 cars.
So you expect that many cars?
We just don't know.
You don't know? So
Yeah, we just don't know. I mean, again, we have Save the Date, we've got 100 cars already. We're, 8 months away yet. And so we got plenty of time to have more. There's so many people that don't know to put their car on Facebook to save the date. I've got personally 5 friends that aren't on Facebook that have Boss Mustangs. And so, the word's getting out. We're handing these flyers out. We're going to a big show in Kansas City, or in Tulsa, Oklahoma. It's a big Mustang show. We're going to do that in June. We'll be handing these flyers out. There's a Mustang national event in Lincoln, Nebraska, July 16th, I believe it is. We'll be handing those out. So a lot more people are going to be finding out about this thing. And of course, word of mouth from you folks, if you know anybody. So we really...
So at this point in time, you just want to approve the barricades for those 2 days?
Barricades for those 2 days, and I believe a year ago I did get permission to have beer gardens stuff, but I mean, for sure, beer gardens, cruise night Friday night, live band Friday night, I would like permission to do that.
So I'm trying to remember the beer garden, like for the car show, don't we barricade something off, but you don't want anything barricaded off that night?
Probably Friday night, just in front of Joe's, whatever, but no, just like the cruise night, we don't barricade that either for the cruise night.
So we won't worry about the beer gardens right now, you just want to make sure that we'll barricade from 5th to 10th right now?
Correct, that would be great.
Okay, we can do that. That would be the 8th and the 9th. From 5th to 10th, I would entertain that motion.
I'll make the motion. And we'll barricade off from 5th through 10th for those 2 days.
For Saturday and Sunday up to 2 p.m., that's what you said?
Well, we'll play it by ear, but Sunday is just trophy presentation. Lori's going to open up the wagon wheel on Sunday. We'll have a breakfast downtown. And of course, everybody's invited to that. Just depends on how long. We don't know. This is our first time.
You want to leave it open for the full day at this point?
We sure don't need it for the full, let's use 5 o'clock.
5 p.m.,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
So Saturday and then Sunday through 5 p.m.
Yes.
Is that your motion, Jason?
Yeah.
Okay. Is there a second?
Sounds good.
Second.
Okay. Any questions for Greg?
Just for clarification, you want the half blocks too, just like the car show?
Correct.
Oh, you want half blocks to Center Street?
What do you?
Yeah, I know we usually.
Oh, the little side
half
streets?
between Center and
Yes.
Broadway.
Alleys, you might say, into Center Street. Yes, I'm
Okay.
sorry.
I wanted to make sure it was the same footprint,
Right,
not just,
we can't have.
because otherwise people will be turning and
Right.
confused.
Yeah.
So with side streets to Center and to
Actually,
Walnut?
just the alley behind Boss Motors, in other words.
To the
between-
south?
Yeah, the alley between Boss Motors. And also, I'm glad you brought that up because we're requesting our vendors are going to be on the trail, you might say, down on 7th Street from the Horse, probably just to Elm Street, I'm going to guess. We're going to want that closed off too. Appreciate you bringing
7th
that up.
Street corridor.
We're going to put vendors on that street.
Okay. So you want the side streets from Broadway to Center, all those, as well as 7th Street corridor to Elm.
Yes.
Do I got that?
Yes.
Do I have that?
Yes.
And there won't be any problem with farmer's market or anything like that, so.
Because it's September? Because does the farmer's market end?
We work around it.
Okay.
Yeah, you'll
Since you're here.
You'll go to the pool if you need to, right?
We'll work around it.
Okay.
Okay, so Jason, you want to amend your motion to include those additional areas?
Yeah, make the motion that we allow him to block off, or that we block off 5th through 10th, and then all the side half blocks.
And the 7th Street corridor to Elm Street?
And that corridor.
Who was my second? Terry? You second that? Okay. Thanks for clarification. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? 6-0, all right.
Thank you very much. Just a concern, and I know this is kind of digging up some worms, but we've got the speaker system that has been on Broadway for probably 4 years now, still not hooked up. I don't care about for our anniversary, but boy, for our car show in June 2nd, the Auto Fest car show, Big Blue Barbecue days, I would really appreciate to have that, the speaker system permanently hooked up. I don't know what it's going to take to do that, but you know what, we've got them clear down to 4th Street. We have speakers on the poles that haven't even been turned on yet, and that's been long enough now. And I think, you know, for Black Squirrel Night, Homecoming, Christmas, Easter, our car shows, I think it's very important we get that done, and I would really appreciate getting that done if we can.
Well, we'd have to try to figure out what that is. You're still permanent. That's a key word you're saying.
Well, you know, there are two on my side of the street in front of Boss Motors that aren't hooked up. They've got wires running across the awnings that have fallen down several times, you know, in front of the health center and in front of Joe's Bar and stuff. They're just hanging in the air. I think for our appearance and I think for this thing to work good, I think we need the speaker system hooked up. I mean, that's...
Okay, well, Austin, you want to get an estimate on what that's going to cost?
Well, I mean, you know, I've talked to Dave about it, I've talked to Austin about it. I think all you really would have to do would be saw, and I'm speaking out of turn because I don't know what I'm talking about, but concrete saw. I mean, the speakers are all there, they're on the poles, the whole 9 yards. You have to just get conduit to them. I mean, the wire, and the wire isn't big around than a pencil, you know, so I would think that just a saw and run the wire down through there and fill it with silicone or whatever. I mean, I'm, again, not speaking that I know what I'm talking about, but it just needs to be done. I mean, they've been up for 4 or 5 years now, and it's embarrassing that the people, especially last year we had the car show, we had the tractors down on that end, and they said they heard nothing at all down in front of the old Chromies. And so, you know, I think that it's important that we get this thing fixed up, and I would appreciate getting that done.
Okay, well, we'll put that on Austin and Dave's to-do list to give us an estimate so we know what it is. But I'm glad you brought it up now instead of May.
Yes. Well, you know, I'm just saying that, and then one other thing regarding the speaker system, and I'm not pointing any fingers, but my nephew, Darlene's oldest son, is a technician. I mean, he works for Kansas State University. He does all the sound system for graduations, prom, everything. I mean, he does everything. And he is extremely good at helping us out on the day of our show. But then somebody used the amplifier for a different event before our show last year, and they burned it up and didn't have it wired right. Someone needs to be trained for the city from Tom's Music Shop on how to hook this thing up and be the one responsible doing that, especially other events. Pat, I think, is going to be willing to do it if he's available. But he
probably
lives
a
in
football game that weekend.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, you know, Pat's got stuff going on for the Boss Nationals. I don't even know if I'll probably have to put his car in the show. So, but I think that someone for the city that's a little savvy on that kind of stuff needs to be taught by Tom's or somebody on how to do it, you know, so it's done correctly. Because burning the one up last year was not a good deal for our car, the day of the car show. Thank God we had a backup. And so it was wired up wrong by someone else earlier. So, and then that leads to one more point. For the day of the band, for both events, our car show, the barbecue, and also for the Boss Nationals, the bands are always constantly blowing circuit breakers and stuff. We need a designated power down there by the statue of the horse. There needs to be a designated, and I don't know what I'm talking about as far as when it comes time to that, but they're constantly, I mean, you can ask Michelle and Ali Argo, the band was shut off I don't know how many times last year and the year before because the power goes out. There needs to be a dedicated plug-in for that. And I'm going to suggest that you maybe get with Scotty Keller, because one of his bands is the one that had the problem. I've talked to Scotty. He knows what he's talking about, where it could be, where it should be, what it would take.
Well, what Scott admitted himself that it was his equipment that was breaking it. He found the short in his
Okay,
equipment.
but the other
And
two
then
bands, the other two bands had the same problem.
there was actually a larger band, if I'm not mistaken, that actually fared fairly well with their equipment. We sat there and listened the whole night. I did anyways, but
Well, one of them, I had to actually go get my personal generator to get through the night on the one, and it wasn't Scotty's band, it was one of the other bands. And so I had to get my personal generator just to keep on power. So I think that somebody needs to look into that knows what they're talking about, and I don't.
and we use GFI outside, and that's what's killing them is because the GFI kicks it.
Yeah, and that's why I think if we had a
And that's what we have to
things
use.
for that day. I think Michelle would like to say something.
I don't know anything about electricity or anything like this, but I will say as the event organizer, it's going to become a problem, and I don't know the solution, so I'm just saying this off the cuff. It's going to become a problem to get bands to come here if they continually lose their power. Because we talked about it with bands last year, and I actually talked to Scott Keller today, not about this, but I did mention that to him. I said, we've got to figure this out. We're going to bring KCDC in this year. We're trying to bring in bigger bands, maybe that people haven't seen, or, they've been here before, but other people that people haven't seen before. And I don't want that to be a thing where they heard from another band that, well, the show didn't go smooth in Marysville, so we're not going to come there. This is a huge weekend. So
It was quite
just to offer my 2 cents on
Quite
that.
embarrassing last year.
Yeah,
with-
it
I
was-
mean, they're
it
sitting
was
along and all of a sudden it's totally.
And again,
shut
I
off.
don't know the answer, I don't know what it costs, I don't know what we need, I just wanted to offer that up.
Thank you, Michelle. Well, I guess that's all I got. Let me turn on my tablet here, see if I got anything else. I think that's it.
Flags.
Well, I've asked about the flags. I mean, I didn't know whether I was supposed to talk about it, but anyway, us group, we've got the flags, we put on the 2 bridges, and we, in case you weren't outside in Kansas last summer, the wind blew every day, and it has destroyed the American flags. Our group of volunteers have actually purchased the new Army, Navy, Air Force, Marine flags last year. We actually bought them ourselves. I know the city has bought flags, but we need 16 new American flags that are absolutely shot. And by the way, when we take the flags, we take them up to a seamstress that sews them up for us free of charge. I mean, she hems them so that, I don't know the word, but anyway, she hems them up so they don't destroy the first day we put them up. The wind blew every day, and we need 16 new flags. If we buy 16, they're $33.95 a piece, and I'm requesting that we do 16 of them. Grand total cost would be $543.20, plus I'm sure shipping. And it's the same company we've used before. I can pass this around if you'd like to see this. Maybe I already did the flag thing. Yeah, I think I did. Accidentally handed the flag thing out to you. It's probably hanging around there someplace.
Here it is.
We have,
Yeah, so if you'd like to look at that.
oh,
So I'm asking for
Yeah.
the
you
city to
didn't
please,
tell me I had.
the city to please replace the 16 flags, the American flags at $543.20 plus shipping.
Okay. And in our packet, it showed that last year we took it out of Special Parks and Rec. We have about $9,000 of revenue in that per year. And the thing...
We did a journal entry to travel and tourism.
Excuse me?
We journal entered to transient guest tax.
I understood that came
We
out of
did?
travel and tourism last year.
It did.
And I'm
Oh.
not sure, I'm not the one to say where it comes out of, but I would think that something else other than travel and tourism. That's up to you folks.
Okay. It was made here and then we later transferred it. We had a
Yes.
second motion?
Yes.
When we actually bought them?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was just looking at our initial motion. So we have an option where we can either take those, if you decide to buy them, take those monies out of Special Park and Rec. Special Park and Rec gets about $9,000 a year. The thing we take out of that annually is fireworks, which is about $3,500. So you have another $6,500 that we could potentially use out of this. I don't know of anything that's specifically budgeted out of that fund other than
Well,
fireworks.
I guess another point to take from this is that when they made the motion last year, they made it specifically say 2017 only. So it was the idea that we'd buy the flags this time, but you might want to think about that later.
It seems like if we have another windy summer, maybe the same thing again in a year too.
Well, you probably will. I mean, I'm thinking you have to figure out that if we're gonna replace those flags, to just have it be an annual expense.
Well, and like I say, last year, I mean, our small group was the one that actually purchased the service flags. It didn't cost the city anything, and I just feel that they're an extremely nice thing as you're pulling into town from either direction.
And we do assist you in
Yes,
putting
you
the
do.
flags up.
Yes, you do.
I'd hate to say it's a cost to the.
Yeah,
to
they
our-
actually have one of the city employees. I furnish the truck. I furnish an employee to hand the flags to the one guy, and the other guy puts them on the pole. One of the city employees puts them on the bridge for us, and the city and Jim Reed and a couple guys, they actually change them over to the poles. So, yes, the city does help on that. I appreciate that very much.
The flag here to make it more competitive. The guys bought new clips and all new ropes. The city paid for those because what was up there was not working, because it's all our labor to put them up, our labor to take them down, and they wouldn't stay the way they were.
Correct.
I guess to play devil's advocate, my impression was we kind of started this as and this is, I think they're nice, but we kind of started as we're granting permission for it to happen, and then I kind of worry that we're granting permission starts and then it ends up becoming a city thing. I mean, I know you guys do a lot of work, obviously, but I kind of feel like it was something like, okay, I think it's nice if somebody wants to do it, and now it's going to become a city budget item. It just kind of feels like, well, how did that happen? You know what I mean?
And I wasn't involved in the initial
Sure.
one, so I don't know. But
So, the electricity that we're paying for at Veterans Park, is that coming out of this fund?
It's, what is it?
No,
It's,
no,
Where's it coming out of?
comes out of sales tax. Public.
Comes out of sales tax, okay.
Yeah, I get a little worried about the slippery slope of us inheriting lots of projects, you know.
Well, to be honest though, I love the flags on
Oh, no, we get a lot of compliments.
the bridges.
It looks nice.
I mean, when you come into town and they're there, I think it's a huge plus for our community. So if it costs us $600 a year plus labor, it's just something I think we should take on. It'd be so tragic just to let them not put them up.
Are they cheaper if you buy a few more, just for
yeah,
extra?
actually, we're buying by the bulk. That one paper will show you, and I can show you here. But yeah, if
Their
you,
sale goes through what, the end of February, that is not yet, correct?
oh, I'm not even sure.
Right now is their flag sale.
Yes.
Because we bought them for ourselves, for the center circles and the cemetery. Ourselves, I bought our supply and just did that.
Right.
Is that what it says, Jason? Does it say something about a sale price?
I don't see it.
I have heard nothing but good comments and compliments on the
Yes,
flags.
ends February 28th.
February 28th?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I like the flags, and I think for $500 or $600, it's a huge attraction. It draws people to Marys. I mean, it doesn't really draw people to Marys, but it's a big compliment to our city. So I don't have a problem saying that we're going to have a $600 expense every year.
I have a little bit of a concern taking it out of special parks, since it doesn't seem like a parks thing to me.
Do you want to take it out of tourism?
I'm not saying that's necessarily the best course either, but almost a sales tax, if we're gonna spend it, I just assume it come out of sales tax. It just seems like it's broadening the scope of special parks to include that in that category. I'd rather keep that designated for that. I'm okay with spending the money, but I think it should be out of sales tax.
And by the way, the city employee, which I'm tickled to death, Dominic is the one that does it. He's remarkable. But from the time we start on the west bridge and finish at the south bridge is 18 minutes. That's how fast we got it down pat to change them. And again, I drive the truck. I built the board for the guy to stand on, and I furnish an employee to hand Dominic the pole. Yes, they do change them over when and like Cindy was saying, they had some, the bolts actually wore out because that wind tears them up. I mean, it's beating all the time. And so, but the day we actually change them, other than getting from the cemetery and down to there and back, is 18 minutes to change them. So we're not talking about a real big expense.
I'll make a motion that we donate, that we buy 16 flags at a total of $512 and take it out of sales tax for 2018.
It was more than 5.
It's $543.20
Yes.
plus shipping.
Okay, this was last year. Okay,
Yeah,
$543 plus shipping.
$33.95 each.
Okay.
I second it.
Okay, we're taking out of sales tax fund. Now,
This
is
was
that
last year.
motion for just 2018?
Yes, 2018.
Or do you want it to be a project for us to do each year
Well-
going forward?
Maybe next year, maybe we can find somebody else that would help us, maybe.
Okay, so just 2018, I got it. Okay, who was the second? Darlene? Okay, is there any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 6-0, all right.
Any questions
2018.
about anything?
Sales tax fund. No? Just keep us informed whenever you need more stuff, Greg, okay?
Will. Thank you all very much.
You put us to task on a few, we'll see if we can get those done.
Thank you very much, folks.
Thank you. All right, Wayne. You have some requests too?
We do. We're going to preface our request. I'm Wayne Cruzy. I'm the chairperson for Marysville's Convention and Tourism Committee, and this is Michelle Weitzel. She's the director of Marysville's Convention and Tourism Committee. We are a 10-member committee appointed by you, and we're here to talk about the process we go through so that when you get our requests every month, you might think, wow, they're spending a lot of money. And often we do, but we're here to explain our thought process so you know that because you appoint us and because we make recommendations to you, we take that task very seriously. So the committee has priorities, we have long-range goals, so as we think about how are we going to spend our dollars, we take that into account as well as into account for what we have budgeted. So we have a sheet, the handout for you. The first one is literally a cut and paste, where I was cutting and pasting. So you could see over the past 3 years, the revenue we received through our transient guest tax dollars. To see that as you look from 15, 16, 17, every year our revenues go up by about $1,000. We like to think that that's because we're doing a good job. A couple years ago, we started with the Marysville Minute, and we hired Michelle. We think that what we're doing to market our city, to get people to come and spend the night here, to bring visitors to Black Squirrel City, what we're doing is obviously working. So we see that there's an increase in our revenues. Now, on the rest of the page, this is a document that we use monthly to show this is how much money we budgeted for a certain line item. And then as we're looking at, what kind of printing we might need, or we get a lot of requests to advertise in various publications, on the radio, on TV. We can look to see, well, how much money did we allocate for that? What have we spent, and what do we have left to spend? So that when we're making decisions, we know that we're making informed decisions to say, so when we come to you, we know that we're making the right kind of recommendation. So tonight, when you saw all your requests, we thought it would probably be important, since there are several new council members, just to talk you through that process so you know we're not a willy-nilly group. A number of years ago, the council said to us, would you please come to us ahead of time? Because sometimes requests would come to you after the fact. And the council said, we're really not okay with that. So we are much more proactive, we're planning ahead. Obviously, having an employee, having a director of convention and tourism has helped keep us on track and help us think ahead. So if you have any questions about how we make recommendations to you, we're happy to answer any questions.
And I would also like to add that we sure appreciate Carla and Austin attend all or nearly all of our meetings. And I think that has really helped our group in understanding, our role with the city and how, we work together well and just overall that communication of our goals and initiatives. I feel like I could say that on behalf of our group that we sure appreciate that they're involved with our group.
And
that's very true, especially going to your discussion about flags. Austin's really good about talking to us about, because we'll have lots of ideas, and he'll talk to us about this is the implication for city employees, or this is the implication for down the road. So it helps us make better decisions about that as well.
And you are always welcome to attend a meeting.
Absolutely.
1 or 2 at a time, of course, but you're welcome to go to a meeting and watch them at work, because they do really think about every expenditure they make, so. So if you ever think you want to go, it's Thursday, usually the third Thursday, right? Is that correct?
I think it's usually second Thursday.
Second.
This-
I think at one point it was the third, but it's the second.
It's usually the second Thursday, and it's over lunch, and starts
At
at
my office.
11:30 usually. So if anybody ever wants to go, put that on your
We have
calendar
one
and go.
Thursday.
But thank you, that was a really good idea to come before the council and explain your function and what you do and how you track expenses. Because, you are given the responsibility of $70,000 of tax money, and, it's good for us to know what you're doing with it, so.
And
Okay.
hopefully you all will, if you haven't already, receive, I put together a monthly, kind of a snapshot of what myself and our committee, what goes on throughout
It was in the
month,
info
so-
packet this
Yeah,
time.
so if you ever have any questions on that, please don't hesitate to email me. I know Vicki emailed me a couple times. I'm always happy to expand.
And if there's any ideas you want to give them, they're always open to it.
I love it if you bring me back pieces of promotional materials from your travels. That's my favorite thing that Carla does. So if you go somewhere, please pick up brochures and awesome things for me. Take pictures of billboards.
Okay. Anything else? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, business and discussion items done. Notices and hearings. Do you want to report about the building commission?
Yes, Mayor.
Planning commission?
Last Thursday, the Zoning and Planning Commission met, and they had two site plans presented. The first one was the Sonic Drive-In, and what they propose is a brand-new building with a drive-up, 15 stalls, and in-house restaurant seating up to 60 people. And that site plan was approved. And the second one was the MHS Ag Technology Building project. They plan to ask for bids, see what this would cost. And there was much discussion about stormwater, having a stormwater drainage study done. As Karen Hughes mentioned earlier. But the site plan was approved as presented and no study was required. Something I might mention too about the zoning and planning, that's a it needs to be a very responsible group, and I would like to see the members have more training. They just are presented with the code book and have to jump in head first.
Yeah, they do have a lot of power. They're the ultimate decision maker on all the site plans. And they review all the final plats, and they have to know the subdivision regulations. So it is a committee that is, number one, powerful, but number two, they have to be knowledgeable about what the Unified Land Development Code, so. But the Sonic that she was talking about, so they're gonna have a drive-through, like the one in Seneca, which will be nice. So it's a drive-through as well as enclosed dining, so that should be nice in that location. Same location.
Same location.
Yeah.
And I can't remember the date that they plan to close, but they plan
Monday, they're going to demolish.
Monday, and they plan to be open in the new building April 1st.
Yeah, so the turnaround is like 5 or 6 weeks. It's pretty amazing. But
That
they're
is
gonna
April Fool's Day.
They're
but-
putting all new, they're putting all new cement, all new, everything's gonna be new except for the east side. There's an overhang area, but everything else is gonna be brand new. So it's exciting that they're making that investment in our community.
They're working with the quarter.
It's April the 1st.
They're making,
The quarter plan.
I don't know.
They work with that too.
I don't know what that means.
The KDOT Access Management Plan.
Did they use that?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
No, 'cause
Because
they didn't
their
change
driveways were already just recently done, so they didn't do anything regarding that. Yeah, and the ag plan, so they approved the site plan, so now we go out for bid. So, and the site plan looks very nice, and the building, I think, will be highly utilized in our community and our school system, so it's good. So thank you, Darlene, for that. Anybody else notice in hearings? Okay, we'll move along to the consent agenda.
Move to approve the consent agenda.
Is there a second?
I second it.
Okay, and just kind of FYI, I asked Debbie to begin on our, where it says city clerk's financial report, and she lists all the cash payments and the checks they receive. I asked her to start doing a little analysis at the bottom, showing the status of all our rents on the Kester Block properties, so that we know we're current on everything. I just thought that would be easier than us trying to figure out who's behind and who's ahead, and so I asked Debbie to start doing that next month. And I guess that's all I had to say about that. Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 6-0. All right. The next item is the appropriations ordinance.
Move to approve appropriations ordinance number 3668.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion? Darlene, you're not going to cover what it is? $313,000. Included in it is our half-year payment for the rec contract with Marysville Sport and Rec, Brian Frogel, who was just here. And there's also a large payment to the library, $128,000, $29,000 for the tax monies we received that then we send on to the library. I know in the information packet that the library sent an annual report showing that they had 36,000 people use the facility last year, which is over 100 people a day, which is phenomenal. So we're glad the library is being used to that extent. And she also made the comment that 94% of her money comes through the taxes received, the ad valorem taxes and the motor vehicle taxes that we receive, and then we transfer to them. So that's a large part of the expenditure this time, but money well spent in our community. So, with that being said, any other discussion on the appropriations ordinance? Okay, roll call please.
Boss?
Yes.
Graham?
Yes.
Hughes?
Yes.
Fry?
Yes.
Schroller?
Yes.
Barnes?
Yes.
6-0.
All right, thank you very much.
Mayor, this is under the consent agenda, but I noticed that payments have been made for 5 more black squirrels.
Yeah, I believe there's going to be 8. They were talking about 8 at the last meeting. So I don't know who the 8 are, but the city is one of the 8. Yeah, but that's nice. They're going to have another Black Squirrels Parade. In October, they're planning to do the unveiling, so that's nice. Okay.
On to my report. First item is, as mentioned before, the North Central Regional Planning lunch that they were talking about. They had asked us if we would sponsor it, and basically it'd be by invitation only, and you'll see what they're proposing on page 28, I believe. Yeah, 28, what their invitation would look like, and it'll say City of Marysville if the council would be okay to sponsor it. And they estimated the cost to be about $460. And the lunch would be held at Land All Lanes. So it's a local affair. They asked the question, so I'm asking it to you guys. It wouldn't necessarily require a motion and a vote, but I wanted to hear a consensus, or if you guys didn't want to do it, then we don't have to do it.
It sure would be cool if maybe the county would co-sponsor it with us, since it's not just the city limits of Marysville.
That's true,
I need
it's
to
a
put that out there.
66508.
Yeah.
Well, my thing is that we pay $500 a year to belong to this organization. So we've already committed that. So, I don't know, that's why I asked him who's gonna be going to
Madam
lunch.
Mayor?
Yes.
I was just curious, due to the fact of you're talking about it's the county too. Did they come ask us, or did we offer?
They came and asked us.
They did ask.
Yes.
Okay.
They sent me this invitation, sent me an email going, hey, we were wondering if you would sponsor us. And so I'm passing that information along.
So the question is, should we use $460 of tax dollars to buy lunch?
If we're gonna sponsor it, could we get bigger billing on the,
That could be a request.
We're kind of buried in there for footing the bill.
I
I'm just
know.
putting it out there.
I mean, we could convince them to put our logo up at the top. or
Sponsored by the city of Marysville.
Yeah, there you go. That's always an option to ask. But like I said, I want a consensus, whether it be yes or no, and then I can pass that right back to them.
I mean, I think we potentially would benefit from this. I mean, I see how in the end it's good for the community, and I mean, if more houses are lived in, then more houses get built, and people pay taxes. And I mean, I get it, but it would be nice if we were sharing it, we were sponsoring it in conjunction with other,
Well, my disappointment was that they didn't tell us anything about it. So when they came to tell us about it, oh, will you
Surprised.
sponsor lunch?
Yeah, surprised.
I'm like, okay, if he would have came and presented that presentation about a month ago and then came and
Yeah.
said, oh, why don't you buy lunch? But
Where would the money come out of?
Could be any. It's a
Pretty much
$460.
Well, I know
wherever
it's
you
not a
want it.
massive amount of
Wherever
money, but
wherever you want it to come out
The
of.
principle of the thing.
Yeah, I mean,
I think it should come out of your budget.
my budget.
Yeah. You brought it to the council, so we'll take it out of government and admin.
I save lots of money elsewhere, so that's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, it says about 460. Is that pretty much just depending on how many people?
That's their top. They
Okay.
think that's gonna be the top.
So it'd be a do not exceed amount would be 460.
Because Landell's has already said $10 a person, and they're thinking
46 people.
46 people.
We wouldn't. Yeah. We wouldn't pay sales tax. Yeah.
No.
So are the council invited too, or who's invited?
He said he'd like at least 2 or 3 representatives. So yeah.
Or does that mean you and Carla are going as representatives?
What do you guys? I mean, what is that? February? When did he say? February 21st.
All right, I move that we approve the city to, well, we approve up to, I'll say $500.
Just
a do not exceed amount of $500 to come out of sales tax to sponsor the Marysville Home Ownership Program, with the request that we get a little bit more billing for our contribution.
I'll second it.
Okay. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
4-1?
Aye.
4-2.
4-2.
4-2. All right.
Number 2. Oh, come back to me. Council dental insurance. Just I brought this up because it was brought to my attention. After having a conversation with Cindy, I recommend that we do away with the dental insurance that we give to council members. Having council members on dental insurance complicates the insurance filing process that Cindy has to go through and is technically not allowed to be insured under our policy unless you are a full-time employee. With the high turnover of the council, we got 5 new members, I figure this is a great time to bring it up. So,
Would it be at the policy year end? Would it be people grandfathered through the policy year end? What would be your proposal to remove it?
since we take payments out at the quarter, I think that was the idea. It's
The end of the
just
quarter?
to the end of the quarter.
Well, what do we need to do so that we can continue this for our council? Just change our policy, change our description as full-time employees or fully elected? Do we change a policy to say?
What?
Check with Blue Cross.
I have to check with Blue Cross.
Okay, well, I
Anything we
think,
can do.
I think this is one of the few benefits that are offered to our council. So whatever policy we need to change, we need to make, I think that's where should be our approach rather than just to drop it.
I for one appreciate it. And it's,
So
you know,
we'll just try to
used it
figure
for
out
myself.
if we need to change the policy, if we need to change what we're called. I mean, so whatever needs to be
But
done.
I would think it'd be, if it is changed to a full-time employee, I would think that'd be a hard sell. Just putting that out there, not that I don't.
Well, I'm
want that
just
to
saying
happen.
somehow the commissioners get their health insurance paid for, so whatever it takes to get our dental paid for, I think we can do that. So,
And I mean, I know it'd be nice to do it at the end of the quarter of the change, but since it's been going for,
20 years.
yeah,
I think
I
we
don't,
can-
we can probably limp along till we decide for sure. A little more information would be all right.
Or whatever we need to do to make it work.
Okay.
Well, nobody even told us when we signed up that we were even eligible for it.
I didn't know
so-
till I was on council.
So why is that true?
What?
Why would she not know she was eligible for this when she signs up?
We were planning on having this discussion when this all came about. It just didn't go as I planned.
Well, our council members need to, if they have an existing benefit, that needs to be communicated to them rather than, oh, we're thinking about taking this benefit away, so it's not offered to you.
Well, it's not that it's not offered. It was, this conversation should have happened before, and it just never happened.
I'm eligible till March.
They're not eligible till March anyways.
I know, but you need to get the people who are wanting to get signed up for it now.
And there will be. I mean,
Okay.
we still have that time to sign them up.
I know, but
not-
it's February
Right,
12th. If they have to be signed up by March 1st, you need to take care of it.
end of March, right? End of March.
March 1st, well, you just said March 1st.
No, end of March.
Any part-time plus a full month, so they're not eligible in January, they aren't eligible in February, they're eligible to start March 1. So I have to do the paperwork before March.
Before,
February.
okay, I
In
didn't understand
February.
that. Yeah, no, it's easy to do the paperwork.
Okay, so when there's something like that, that needs to be communicated to our council members as whenever you had them come in and sign W-4, so you need to tell them what benefits are. That's the only benefit, I mean, we have that benefit, we have a swimming pass, and we have, if you join the gym and participate, those are the 3 benefits of a council member. I think we can retain those and let people communicate those to them, okay?
That's
First thing.
That's fine.
First, when they were first elected
Okay.
on January 8th.
Okay, that's fine. Like I said, should have had this conversation. We're gonna look into it, what we can do to retain this. That way we can keep it going, and we'll get the paperwork out. so
Sign
we
'em
can
up?
Get continued, yes.
Mayor, I have a question. What about the gym membership?
Well, we have the same option as all other employees.
I
that we-
didn't know that.
Yeah, but you have to commit to go 7 times a
7
month.
times a month.
And if you don't, you have to pay what your shortfall is $5
Like the
of
employees
each of the
do.
7.
Okay.
Yeah. You didn't know that?
Look
No.
what
I
it's
didn't
done
know
for
that.
me.
Nobody told me that either. I knew it because of Denny, but nobody told me that either, so.
Okay, so we
but-
need to make that
Yeah, I didn't know
process.
that either, so.
Come on
that's-
down Wednesday night, I'll get you all filled out. I'll just sign up. I work Wednesday.
We'll find out what we can do. Let's see. Next one is a crack sealer, a specialized piece of equipment that'll help us maintain the roads. We would use the crack sealer before we chip and seal. Basically fills in the cracks as it describes with an oil or tar-like substance. So when we go to chip and seal, it has a smoother surface. If you go and look at some of our current chip and seal routes that were done not last year but the year before that, you'll see that cracks start to show up again, and that doesn't help out with the longevity of the chip and seal or the road itself. So we budgeted for this item for this year, and I'm bringing that quote to you guys for approval.
What did we budget? What was the amount?
14.
And is this a used?
No, this is new.
This is new.
I think we talked about if he could find one used up to $8,000. I don't think he ever found one.
No, Nebraska was supposed to, the surplus was supposed to contact us because they had decent equipment. Any of the other used equipment that we found specifically for crack sealing, the city was getting rid of them for a reason. So we never really found a decent crack sealer.
And that looks like probably a pretty reasonable amount since we were ready to spend $8 for a used one.
yeah.
Right.
I move that we approve the purchase of a crack sealer from PMSI for $10,253 from the general fund.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Mayor,
Oh, yeah.
I have one question.
Okay.
How much study went into this? Is this the only one on earth?
Well, it is a specialized piece of equipment. Really only cities, in fact, Hall Brothers used to crack seal. They don't anymore.
Why?
They just don't. They have they said they could dust off their old crack sealer, which is from PMSI, or actually same brand as this one. But they just stopped. So we're a small market as a city, or cities in general. So to find another company to provide us a crack sealer is challenging. Two, we did test this specific one last year, and it worked really well.
Is it different from the one they got dust settled on that they've quit using it?
Yeah, that one's really old, and they made the comment they don't even know if it works anymore.
So did you look for other companies? Did you have other bids?
Yeah, we didn't have any other bids. We looked for other companies, but in this area specifically, this company would be best as far as we can tell if we need service or anything like that. They are available. We haven't found.
Even though they're out of Arizona?
Yeah, that's just they have companies. The sales people and the shops are in the area.
Okay.
Not right here, but in the state.
Okay.
That could help us out.
Yes, Terry?
One more question. I have a question about even having to do this when we have a reputable paving company in our city that has decided they can get by without one. I don't understand why we're going to get something that they've retired because they no longer thinks it does the service.
Well, they don't want to provide the service.
I would theorize, and this is theory, that this helps preserve pavement, which would make it last longer, which would probably interfere with the more profitable business of repaving. So my theory would be that they probably don't want to do this because it's small potatoes.
And it's a pretty labor intensive.
Yeah, I mean, Home Brothers is doing overlays. They're not doing repair work.
It's not their stock of trade.
It'll take our guys. They're still learning about it. They did a pretty good job last year doing it, but it's a time consuming thing, but it's a well worth it thing. But my assumption is just like yours that it wasn't cost effective.
When we had that work done, when we contracted out, do you remember how much that cost when we had the crack sealing?
Oh, we did that ourselves.
On North Street?
No,
No, oh, no, no,
but they-
that was, how much was that?
Yeah, but I
don't know if
remember
they
that
broke it
line
out.
item though.
$11,000 sounds
It
about
was
right.
it was a lot. I mean, at the time
Yeah.
we kind of went, well, we could have bought a machine.
Yes, yeah, I think.
It was
I think
11,000 to contract it.
I think it was enough to buy a new machine, yes.
Yeah, assuming the machine lasts more than once, then you're in the money.
Right.
Yes,
Did you,
Gina?
did you use it last year? Did you rent it?
Actually, we got lucky. We were supposed to be paying rent on it, but they didn't have, it was the machine they just put in the system. They just let us use it for free. But that wouldn't happen in the future.
We demoed it, but then we couldn't buy it.
No, they weren't gonna sell, that one.
Yeah, you
Because
could-
they wanted to continue to demo it out to other cities so they can continue to sell it.
How much was it to rent it?
You just
Just curious. Then you wouldn't have the
$600 a week.
See, the problem is that we do chip and seal the entire, probably months, let's say, probably 8 weeks. So to contract it out for 8 weeks would probably be expensive.
But no, I think this will last more than the once, and it'll help. I think it'll save us a lot of money in the long run. It'll make that chip and seal last how it should last. So I fully believe it's a cost savings.
With our new Haydite rock.
With our new Haydite.
Yes.
Any further discussion? There's a motion, a second to purchase this. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 6-0. All right.
Number 4, the water line project for this year is on North Street from 8th to 12th, which is a continuation of the last year's project, which was from 12th to 16th on North Street. This year is a little bit more intensive as we have a few service lines that go 4 ways, and I think we wanted to correct that. But I think the main issue was this water line. If I'm correct, Tony, it crosses North Street twice. Right. And I think we want to move it just to one side of the street. And so with all the extra work compared to last year, the engineering CES is proposing, we paid $8,855 for the engineering last year, plus they did some on-site valuation while the construction was going on, so they charged us the hourly rate and beyond the lump sum. But the lump sum was $8,855, and this year they're asking $10,750 for this project.
The 800 and 855 didn't include like a change order or anything? Was it 8,855 the contract amount or the final payment amount?
That was the contract amount, and then additionally, there's $1,000 to $2,000 worth of Tony's time while they were constructing it. So I was comparing lump sum to lump sum, and then they also have, as you can see, where'd you go?
Additional services?
Oh, you don't have an hourly rate on this one. You had it on the last one, didn't you?
Yeah, it'd be the same, whatever.
It'd be the other.
For the construction engineering part.
Okay.
Last year's project was 5 blocks. I mean, it was from 12th to 16th and then a block south on 16th. This project is 9 blocks. That's why.
Okay.
We're going from 5 blocks to 9.
Because there's some north-south stuff going on.
Yeah.
So
It
yeah,
actually
I was
starts
trying to
at
figure out why you had this 10th Street highlighted.
Yep. So I went around with Kent and we looked at this. The alley there to the south on 10th, there's a brand new line, or fairly new line there that he wants to connect into to create a better loop. And then going north, he wants to do the same. North on 10th is where I don't believe there's a main there now.
You're gonna go all the way to Oto then? You are gonna?
Correct, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So between North and I don't believe there's a main on 10th, so these services to those houses go like blocks, east or west. And we can't find a lot of them, so he wants to run a main. Again, it creates a better loop in the area, but run the main and then be able to tap that and get the services to these houses on their properties and not running through
Other people's
properties.
Okay, so it's really 9 blocks, and it's really North Street and 10th Street?
Pretty much, yeah. Yep.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, and then the line at Oto is a dead-end line. If we can connect to it again, you close the loop.
Oh, okay. You guys have any other questions for Tony since he graciously came up to the podium? Then I would entertain a motion to approve for the civil engineering services for $10,750 for this water line project.
I'll approve the proposal from CS for the amount of $10,750 for the water line project on North Street and 10th Street.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion?
And to come from water revenue. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we budgeted though, so yeah, water revenue. Okay. Thank you for stating that in the motion or adding that. Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 6-0.
The next item is the flush tank project. For engineering itself, again, last year we did 7 flush tanks. This year we are going to do, we are proposing 9 locations, which one is going to be a new manhole. No flush tank is there, but that's something we need to do for the CIPP this year. And then the other one is replacing an old manhole. So the whole project is another 7 flush tanks plus these 2 manhole locations. Last year we were the lump sum was $7,570 for 7 flush tank locations. This year is $8,725 for the 9 locations we are proposing.
So are you saying these flush tanks have to be done before the...
Just one of the locations has to be done.
Before the CIPP?
Yes.
And...
So that would be their starting point.
And so, is that possible to get it done and get it bid? He's doing the engineering and bid it out and get it done before CIPP?
I think so.
Okay.
Where's that one at?
What?
Which one's the one that doesn't have a, that's get a manhole that doesn't have a,
I'd have to get the map out.
Yeah, I'm just curious.
You know what? It's on our info packet.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, it's marked up there.
There it is.
That yellow one.
And this manhole before lining. NW 41A in an alley from 5th and 6th between Laramie and Calhoun.
Madam Mayor.
Yeah, I think I know right where that's at, actually.
What?
I think I know right where that one's at.
Oh, okay.
What, I'd like to, Tony's here, I'd like, what does he have to engineer? If
All right.
this is all here except for the new manhole, what needs to be engineered?
We measure the depth and put together plans that the contractors can bid on the project, and they'd all look at the same set of information. They can bid accurately. There's 2 sites, I think, where we're replacing main. That gets designed with the slope and make sure it matches up to what's there and matches up to the streets.
So you line everything up so when the CIPP goes through, it's straight? Did I get that?
Correct, but the manhole's got to, the flush tanks have to be replaced.
Have to be taken out, yeah.
CIPP.
But you also line them up then for the CIPP?
Correct.
Okay.
But you're not doing any of the enough, all you're doing is the engineering.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
They have to take out the flush tank itself and then put a new structure in there for the manhole. It's,
Well, that'd be the construction work.
yeah.
The
Do
engineer's
you plan
not
to do it
gonna
right away?
Yeah.
Okay, I would entertain a motion to accept the CES bid for the flush tank replacement project.
Move to approve the proposal from CES for the engineering for the flush tank project in the amount of $87.25 coming from sewer revenue.
I second it.
Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 6-0. I thank you for explaining what flush tanks were. That was helpful.
I didn't know what flush tanks were before I got into this position, so I figure it's a good idea.
How many of those do they have left? Are they about?
I think this might be,
Is this it?
I mean, until we find some more, there's always a chance we find
Yeah,
more.
yeah.
But I think the idea was to get this taken care of and done. And if I look back at the records, I think Kent thinks this is our last stockpile.
I'm always saying that because I remember when I first got on council, we only have a few. So each year I'm like, have we hit?
I didn't know what a flush tank was till maybe 3-4 years ago, and I was doing a job, and they were talking about the flush tank, and at that time they said, we're about done with all flush tanks.
Yeah, so I've been waiting for this to be the final one.
Yeah, I think
That'll be something to celebrate. No more flush tanks.
Yeah, that will be something, be something for plumbers to celebrate.
Okay, number 6 on my list is financials. You'll see the general fund. It's over $1 million, which is quite a bit more than the beginning of 2017, but this is mostly due because we moved mill levy from bond and interest over to the general fund. So that really boosted how much we got. Another theory is that with the new tax changes coming down from the federal level, it encouraged people to pay their property taxes early, so they could count it on their taxes. That's just a theory that's going out there. I'm not sure, because you can't claim more than $10,000 in property taxes under the new federal regulations. So large farms would qualify under that, but that doesn't really help us. So that theory's going in and out of this. But any of the larger corporations or businesses in town might just be doing that.
And also, we, as he said, we budgeted the street sweeper for $216,000. So that's why our general fund is so much higher, because we pushed that ad valorem money there.
Right. And then also the expenses were kind of low for January, but that's just how bills fell and some of the early checks that were coming out. You'll see that maybe a shift in the when I come with the February financials, that there might be more expenditures in February, but just how we're paying the bills and just where our cutoff line is at when they come into your consideration in these documents.
Actually, though, it was just really 2 bills, because it was, our MER went down $17,000 in the general fund, and we fund all the municipal equipment reserve. We do all that in January. So out of the general fund, we reduced that transfer by $17,000, and also the Marysville Sport and Recreation hit in January last year, but hit in February. We just paid it. So those 2 made up the $50,000 swing between the 2 years. So it was just those 2 checks, two things.
Right. Sales tax receipts are about what they have been 3 of the last 4 years. Water revenue is highest received in the last 4 years, and sewer revenue is higher than the last 2 years for January. If you have any questions and you're thinking about this, because I know this is something you guys think about while you're at work or while you're sitting at home watching TV, this is going on through your minds, please let me know. I want to answer your questions, and I just thought I'd put that in there.
The sewer revenue went up because we took that entire transfer for the bond and interest for the last payment of the debt in January. So that's why our expenses in sewer revenue are up in January and will be down in subsequent months.
I also included project costs, and you can see I added from last month the projects that are still ongoing and the costs that are out there. As was pointed out to me, I probably should put in that we're going to get $300,000 back from KDOT for the Clink project. We're still waiting for Clink to finish up, so once we finalize that, we'll get a check for about for $300,000 to put back into our bank account. I included some future projects, just some things that have been talked about, geometric improvement. These aren't final, but with the corridor study going through, with one of their preliminary recommendations, a geometric improvement project down between 4th and 5th, we could get some extra funding because we did the corridor study to do that project, as well as the traffic lights and signal and putting sensors on those, possibly getting some extra funding for that. But those are just a couple projects that have been in conversation. I thought I'd throw those down there. Don't have funding for them yet, but just something to keep in mind. And I know there's other projects out there that we have discussed. I just did not put them out there just yet.
That CIPP though, we want that coming, it's budgeted in sewer revenue, not sewer replacement.
Okay, yeah.
And the other thing is we want to we want to apply for that KDOT grant for 5th and 6th on Broadway. And, I think we really have to bite the bullet and start planning our residential improvements. We're going to have, we've planned our highway improvements, some Broadway improvements. We really need to have a street plan and invest money in our streets.
Which that's one of the things I didn't put down just yet. We had talked about, because I was asked to bring a priority list that our street crew, street supervisor recommended, and I think that was put in, if not in one of this year's info packet, one of last year's info packet, where we prioritized some streets, and I think the top two we were hoping to get done this year were 20th Street next to Landall's and between 4th and 5th on Carolina Street, I think.
I think we really need to put 11th Road in there in Keystone. I think we need to have a plan for that.
And those would be large scale plans, yes.
Yeah, but just residential streets in general, I don't know if people stop you, but they keep saying, when are we going to start focusing on residential streets? And I think we have to bite the bullet and make a 5-year plan.
Okay. Any other questions on the financials? My last item are the conferences that I'm looking for approval on. These are my typical ones that I go to, the water conference in Wichita, the KACM, Kansas Association of City County Managers in Lawrence, the League of Kansas Municipalities annual conference, which council members are also welcome to attend that one. So if you want to go to that one in Topeka, that's October 6th through the 8th, and that's normally council members and the mayor attend that one, and that's in Topeka. Like I said, October 6th through the 8th. It's one of those beneficial ones. And then another Kansas Association City County Managers, their annual conference down in Pittsburgh, Kansas. The last one is the International City Managers Association annual conference that I want to attend in Baltimore, Maryland, and that's one of the things that I requested when I got hired to be put in my contract, that the city would pay for that. I didn't go to the one last year. I pre-planned not going to that one. I went to the one before that in Kansas City. So it's one of those things I don't necessarily go every year, but this is one of the ones I like to go to. And a lot of these, all of these conferences have their worth. The Kansas Association City County Managers is really a continuing education thing for me. It keeps me on the top of my game with the current trends as well as current practices of other city managers and city administrators and how they're operating. The water conference keeps me in the loop of water and sewer regulations that are going through, and also new ways of doing water and sewer. And it, like I said, keeps me in the loop. It also it's one of those that our water and sewer employees go to retain their certifications in water and sewer. So that's an important one. And then the league is an overall for city clerks, city administrators, city managers, council members, the mayor, city attorney. They even have a spot for city attorneys to go to it, and that's city and county working, or really city workings. So I'm looking for approval for those top 4 conferences. Any questions?
Darlene, what were you?
Oh, you said 4. You have 5 listed?
Yes. Like I said, when I got hired, as one of the stipulations in my contract, I requested that the city pay for me to go to the ICMA when I.
Okay, so you're saying the other one's in addition to that one?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
I think it's important for us to know the cost of all these. So before you approve them, I would like Austin to bring back to the next meeting a cost of the registration, the hotel, the airfare, so you can see how much money all this training is. And then I would also like him to specify how many days he will be away from the office, so we can look at that in a total. So will you bring that to the next meeting?
I can. I will say that these will all fit within the budget, and that's an important question for you guys to know. Ask, will this fit in the budget?
Well, I want to know the dollars. Don't you guys want to know the dollars?
Definitely.
How much did I tell you?
All you did was to give me the registration fee on some of them, but no hotel or airfare estimate or anything like that. I just want to see the total amount.
Okay.
So we'll cover that next meeting, okay? All right. From the highlight, did you have anything else?
No.
From the highlights, you mentioned about the bucket truck. Are we getting that fixed?
We can't get it. It won't pass inspection, and it has to do with insulation. The inspection, the dielectric test, it won't pass that, and that's a costly thing to do. I forget what year the bucket truck is, but the cost to get that to pass the inspection, I believe it would be cost prohibitive. I have yet to find one that matches the criteria that would fit our city. So that's why I haven't brought anything forward.
So you're anticipating buying a new one?
Not a new one, a used one.
A used one?
That,
Okay.
that is proven to pass the test that we need to, and not just any one. It'll probably come from Alltech, which is a major brand in bucket truck, or one of its competitors out of Kansas City.
And then we'll surplus this one.
And then we'll surplus it. It can go Purple Wave, and a farmer can buy it, and they can use it on their
Independent operator of some sort. Yeah.
But that's why I didn't bring anything to the council, because I couldn't find a suitable option for us to even look at.
Okay. Now, would we use that bucket truck to do Christmas decorations?
Yes. Tree trimming and
Checking the roof of the library. I've been in it.
That was you?
Yes.
Okay, and then also, I believe, Jason, you brought up about the shooting range. Are you working on getting that so that we can use it for?
We're waiting on. There's a few things, and I did talk to Jason about it. It's.
But we do want to pursue it so the public can use it.
Yeah, and that's the whole idea. Yep.
Okay, and then the roof on the Kester block, there was a leak that could resolve?
Oh yeah, they came out and fixed it. It was under warranty.
Okay. All right. All right. Debbie?
I only have one thing. It's not listed here because I got an email today from City Code on our City Code book, and they have it back for us. And there's about 6 pages of, you should look this over before you go live with it. So, I don't know if we want to get little committees together, if you want to go through it as a whole group, if you want Austin and I to work with the attorney.
You mean it has to be, make sure we like it?
Just some suggestions of changes and different things that they've caught along the way.
So they implemented all our ordinances?
Yes.
And then they
So-
said, you might want to consider
Might want to look
ABC.
at these things.
Okay. Okay. Well, our finance and admin can look at it as well, if you want to.
Okay.
And I guess the other thing, I talked to Debbie about the Credit Bureau of Kansas. So she's going to bring it to the next meeting, but, so our court revenues, our court receivables, I should say, have grown to $125,000. Our court revenues are languishing at $40,000. So it's very important that we start collecting our court revenues. Met with Ruth, met with the judge, and met with Debbie, and I think that our best option right now is to send as much as possible to the Credit Bureau of Kansas as soon as possible. Only 28,000 of that 125 is at state set-off, according to Ruth. So there's a huge amount of money that's just sitting there that's not, I can't say it's not being pursued because I don't know exactly what Ruth is doing. But Ruth encouraged doing it. That's the key thing to me. She encouraged doing it when the receivables are that high. So that just kind of communicates to me that she might be overwhelmed. I mean, I don't want to put words in her mouth, but she'd be willing to utilize that services. And it also works for water and sewer. So Debbie's going to bring that to the next meeting, and that's why. Do you guys want to know any more about municipal court revenues? Or is that receivables, or is that sufficient? Okay, just to let you know that that's in the works, and I think if they offered us a contract, and or what do we need to do? We need to draft an ordinance so that for water and sewer, because they do water, sewer, and muni court.
Right.
And so we have to draft an ordinance to say to make sure we retain all the monies due us. Municipal court, all monies, they've add a fee on top of that, so we get all the money that is our receivable. So you're going to work on that in the next couple weeks and bring it? So she will bring it at the next meeting.
And the governing body meeting is in April if anybody else is interested. I'll need to get registered for that.
Oh, okay. April 20th and 21st. Okay.
We already got 2 people going.
Right.
So.
All right. We'll go to standing committees. Street, water and sewer, parks and rec, cemetery and airport. We had a meeting about grave. I want to say grave opening. Yeah, all I could think of was grave digging. And I talked to Debbie, and she said that B&W is acceptable to having a 2-year contract. And what we talked about, weren't you there too, Jason? What we talked in the past, the grave, they charged us $200, then we charged through the billing from Kinsley $400. So we had a $200 difference between what it costs us to do it than to do the other side of it that our employees do which is a lot of work as well.
Settling and things.
Yeah, so we would bill the families the $400. Well, they have now increased, B&W has increased to $275. And our committee talked, and we decided we weren't comfortable with just doubling it to $550. And we kind of thought, or the consensus of the committee was just to keep it at a $200 buffer at this time. Now, at some point, we might decide that doesn't cover our cost. Remember, Terry? But at this point in time, we thought a $200 buffer over what they billed would be what we'd want to charge. And we can go ahead and make that motion. We don't have to wait for the B&W contract to come back at the 2-year.
And we had asked for the contract because we wanted a little bit of stabilization, a little bit of a advanced warning of when we would need to readdress
Yeah,
this.
our contract had expired and we didn't catch it. And so now we're asking for, they agreed to 6 months, give us 6-month notice of an increase. But if we would make the motion that whatever the grave opening cost is and have it, our billing be 200 above that, we wouldn't have to keep adjusting ours as B&W adjusts theirs. Does that make sense?
Bring back a policy or something to approve.
Is that how we would do it by policy? Okay, so that's kind of where they're headed, right? Is everybody okay with that? The 200 above, so that she can draft it up? That's kind of what we came up with as a committee.
That's fair, and since our costs aren't substantially increasing at this time, that we wouldn't just increase it, to put that added expense on people.
And at some point, we might decide that 200 isn't enough, but we'll wait.
For now, yeah.
We decided that would be sufficient. You guys okay with that? So you'll bring a policy about that?
In the agreement with B&W, yes.
Okay.
Great, thanks.
Uh-oh. I can't, there. Okay, so that was that committee. Police and fire. Admin and finance. We just had a meeting.
Yes, we had a meeting this afternoon. Diane and Terry, myself, and the mayor. And first item we talked about was the court fees. Currently, we collect $65 for the court fee. We can decide what the court fee is. The fines are left up to the judge. That is the judge's discretion. And during January, our court costs were $3,770, where our court revenue was only $2,817, a difference of $953. Diane did some calling around to check what, like city size, what they charge for court fees. Of course, Marysville, I mentioned, was 65. Belleville, 75. Hiawatha, 60. Horton, 93.50, and they told Diane that Holton charges, they think, the same amount. Sabetha, 100. Seneca, 100. And our committee is proposing that we raise Marysville's $20, which would be a court fee of $85.
So we would still be, what that will generate is about $5,000 of revenue. Of course, we have to receive it. We don't want our receivable to grow by that amount. And, because they said that we average about 250 court cases a year, so $20 increase. And we still are kind of on the, well, we do what, have 3 or 4 ahead of us and 2 or 3 below us. So we'd still be under the midpoint for the city, or the cities close by. So what do you guys think? Do you want to increase our court We talked also at an earlier meeting about splitting and saying if it's just traffic, make it 80, and make it, if it's a court appearance, make it 120. I talked to Ruth, she said that was probably too complicated, wouldn't really prefer that, neither did the judge. The officers, when they write the tickets, have to state what the court fee is, so it's easier just to keep one court fee. So we thought 85 was a reasonable one. So I would entertain a motion to increase the court fees, the court fees to 85, if that.
Done by ordinance.
Is it done by ordinance?
Yeah, I think it is. Bring the ordinance back.
So, I would entertain a motion to draft an ordinance to increase the court fees to 85, is that correct?
Madam Mayor, I'd like to make a motion that we draft an ordinance to make our court fees $85 effective immediately.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 6-0, all right, we'll do that.
And the second item we talked about was the reimbursement for mayor and council members. I'm going to pass out, this is a copy of, I'm not actually going to pass out here, I'm going to pass out the copies of ordinance number 1583. This is from February 15th of 2001, and it talks about the compensation for the mayor, council member, city treasurer, municipal judge. And I've marked on there what the city treasurer, at that time it was $225, but they are now paid $600 per month. The municipal judge at that time was paid $450, and currently it's $707 per month. The mayor did a survey of like-sized cities. The compensation varies a lot, all the way up to 32, let's see, what was that one? Over $3,000 a month for a council member.
Well, actually, those are the same 15 cities that we use to analyze our salaries, to decide if we were paying our employees comparable. So using those same cities, we looked at what the mayor and the council members made.
So our committee is proposing that we raise the compensation for the mayor to $3,200 annually, and the council members to $2,400 annually. This would be, let's see, to the budget, like $9,200 impact on the budget. You will be finding out new members that besides our 26 meetings that we have per year, then we have 4 budget workshops, could have other workshops, numerous committee meetings, trainings, to mention a few things, the time spent in preparation, research. So we all do spend a lot of hours. It's sort of semi-volunteer, but we do receive some compensation.
So we looked at the midpoint on what these other cities paid, and that's how the numbers we came up with. So I entertain a motion. Again, we would have to draft an ordinance for this.
I would like to move that we draft an ordinance to increase the mayor's annual salary to $3,200 annually, and the city council members salary to $2,400 annually.
Is there a second?
Second. Yeah, I don't know.
When will this take effect?
Probably this year, you probably roll it back to January.
Well, when
Next.
when we were,
The first-
elected now.
Yeah, the
Effective
first
now.
payment would be in March,
I
so
know if they roll backwards or forward.
it'd be it'd start for 2018.
It has been
It's not hard.
17
It's been-
years since it was last addressed.
And we're aiming at a midpoint. It's not like we're trying to go on the high end, but it is 17 years since that we've had a raise.
Yeah.
We also figured out that the amount of raise was less than the annual raise we gave for our employees this year, less than the 62 cents an hour. So, and that they get raises annually, and we
Yeah.
haven't had one for 17.
Yeah, their raise
I guess
was $1,269 at 62 cents
I
an
guess
hour.
honestly, when I filed, I didn't even realize you got paid. Council member.
Well, you'll
It doesn't
earn,
matter.
you'll
I'll take
earn
the
it.
money, don't get me wrong.
Trust me, Jason, you'll earn it.
But, oh, I know. But I mean, the first thing you always hear people gripe about, like Congress, they say, but they always vote themselves a raise every time. I mean, that's always the gripe that you hear, you know.
I would,
And if it needs raised, it needs raised. It's kind of a big jump all at once. I mean, I'm sure I'm going to hear about it. I vote
well,
for myself a raise.
I think the key thing is to keep in mind that it's been 17 years.
It has been.
The second thing is it's less than the amount that we increased our employees for the full year, and ours, we haven't done it for 17. And,
County
It
commissioners.
doesn't make a difference to me because I've only been. This is my third meeting.
County
I don't feel
commissioners
like I've been getting billed for 17 years. You know.
Yeah, I think we should roll it back to 7 years for current service.
County commissioners make a lot more money. They get insurance.
Oh, I'm sure they do, but I'm not a county commissioner.
I know, but I mean, there is a lot of work involved in it if you want to do a good job.
and I feel we do. We have I think we put in a lot of time to make wise decision, and I think it's time for us to go ahead and vote that raise. I think you can justify it. So did you make the motion?
Yes.
Did someone second it?
I'll second it.
Terry did.
Okay. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Aye.
So 4-2. All right. Anything, is that all we discussed, Darlene?
That's all I have in my notes.
Okay. Was there anything else, Diane?
Nope, that's
Okay. All right. That was the end of the standing committee reports. I don't have any appointments, much to my dismay. City Attorney, do you have anything you want to share?
Do not.
Okay. I do feel we need to go into executive session. I have the motion here to help whoever wants to make the motion. Do you want to make it, Todd?
Absolutely.
There you go. I wrote it out for you. So we probably need it to be, let's see, oh man.
Yeah.
We'll make it, how about like a 4-minute break, maybe 3-minute break, and a 10-minute session? Is that fair?
Sure.
And so let's give it to 9:42 to come back.
Okay.
How about that?
All right. I move the city council recess into executive session pursuant to non-elected personnel matters, exception KSA 75-4319B1, in order to discuss a performance matter involving a city employee. The opening meeting to begin at 9:32, last 10 minutes, and resume in the city council chamber at 9:42 p.m.
With a short break.
With a short break of 4 minutes before the beginning, as mentioned at 9:32. The executive session will include the governing body and
City Attorney.
City Attorney.
I second it.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right.
I ad-libbed that a little, I hope it's okay.
I was, in the info packet, compensating use was just slightly higher than last year. I would have thought that would be more. That's, compensating use is sales tax dollars through mail order stuff. And so I'm kind of surprised that it didn't go up more as much as people buy online. And I think I did mention about the high use of the library, so which is a great thing, 38,000. And the only concern I had was on the CIPP, we budgeted $200,000, and you're only increased at 334.
No, we, last year we did 3,600 linear feet of CIPP. This year we're doing 8,300.
We did 8,100 last year.
We only did 3,600. It averages about $25 a linear foot. So if you take that times that.
I thought I saw that last year it said 81 in 17, 81,077 for 86,000. You say that's an incorrect number?
That's an incorrect number.
So you think we did bump it to 200,000?
Yes,
Oh,
we did.
that's good.
Yes.
Okay, that was my only comments from the info packet, and I don't think I had anything else for roundtable. Darlene?
I don't have anything tonight.
Okay. Gina? Terry?
I'm happy.
Todd?
No.
Diane?
I see they got the new grates put on the streets like in front of Farm Bureau, and they must have replaced several of them from what I understand.
New grates, so mission accomplished?
Those cover, and typically we have the property owners, the people, the businesses do that, but there were so many, we just took care of it. So future reference, if you see one, or if a property owner has a problem with what they have, I mean, they can replace them themselves. I mean, that's just, because they're all responsible for their sidewalk in front of their business.
Oh, well,
Yep.
you should have told me that in the first
No,
place.
but it was beneficial for the whole downtown because there were so many. So we actually got a discount from Landals on those pieces of metal, so it wasn't too hard to take care of. So happy to do it.
So we have a safer for our residents and
Yes.
shoppers.
Yes.
Okay.
Anything else, Diane?
Nope.
Jason? Okay, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
Second, is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We're adjourned. Hallelujah. This was a longer meeting. Our business and discussion items.